Those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music.
This is not an emergency broadcast. Keep calm and stay tuned.
The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. Those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music.
There's a light on the mast and a hum in the wire. Bob's preaching gospel through the feedback fire. He said truth ain't polite and hope ain't clean, but it shines like chrome in a dead machine. Yeah. Midnight transmission, roll that sound, where the broken get healed and the lost get found. Raise your hand, yeah, let the static pray. The Antisocial Broadcast is on its way, yeah. Praise be the noise and the signal divine.
Alright, today we're diving into the most complex and fascinating object in the known universe, that 3-pound supercomputer sitting right inside your skull.
Okay, let's kick things off with a simple question. Take a look at this color, magenta. You've seen it a million times, right? But here's the thing. Is it actually real?
Believe it or not, the answer is no. See, unlike red or blue, there's no single wavelength of light for magenta. Your brain just makes it up. It happens when your brain sees light that it interprets as not green. And that's our first big clue, that the reality you think you're seeing, it's really just a story your brain is telling you.
And that little trick of the mind? Oh, that's just the beginning. It leads us right into some of the wonderfully strange and, yeah, sometimes glitchy ways your brain works.
You ever wonder why you might tear up at a wedding or, when you get some amazing news? Well, it's all because of a little part of your brain called the hypothalamus. When it's hit with an extreme emotion, it gets so overwhelmed it can't actually tell the difference between extreme happiness and extreme sadness. To your brain, intense is just intense. The waterworks turn on either way. Or what about this one, that shiver you get down your spine from a really great piece of music? It feels totally emotional, right? But it's actually this fascinating brain process. Your brain is a master at spotting patterns, so it anticipates that perfect moment in the song. And when it hits, boom, a rush of dopamine. It's not just a reward for pleasure, it's a reward for predicting what was going to happen. It's your brain giving itself a high five.
And of course, there's that super weird feeling of déjà vu, that I've been here before moment. The best way to think about it is like a little filing error in your brain. For just a split second, a brand new experience gets stamped, old memory, before your conscious mind even has a chance to catch up. A tiny, temporary glitch in the system.
So all these little glitches, they actually point to something huge. Your brain isn't just floating up there in your head running the show. No, it is deeply and sometimes pretty bizarrely connected to every single part of your body.
Get this, there was a man in the UK who had hiccups non-stop for 2.5 years. Can you imagine? Doctors had no idea what was going on. It wasn't until a TV show helped pay for more tests that they found the cause, a brain tumor. And the second they removed it, the hiccups were gone. Instantly. Just gone. It's a pretty wild reminder of how direct that brain-body control really is.
And you know what? That connection is absolutely a two-way street. You know that phrase, a gut feeling? Turns out it's way more literal than you might think. Researchers at UCLA have found that the bacteria in your gut can directly message your brain, influencing your mood, and even playing a role in anxiety or depression. So yeah, taking care of your stomach is literally taking care of your mind.
This body connection is so deep it even happens when you're completely out of it. When you're asleep, your brain isn't just offline. It's actually doing a deep clean. Spinal fluid literally washes through your brain tissue, clearing out waste proteins that build up during the day. One of those proteins has been linked to Alzheimer's, which is exactly why getting a good night's sleep is so important for keeping your brain healthy in the long run.
Okay, so the brain is connected to the body. We got that. But it's also ridiculously adaptable. It can rewire itself in ways that are, well, they almost defy belief. I want you to try and imagine something. Imagine living your whole life in a flat 2D world, like an old cartoon. You can't see depth at all. This is a real condition. It's called stereo blindness. And for most people who have it, that's just their reality.
But then you get the story of a guy named Bruce Bridgman. He had stereo blindness for 67 years. Then, one day, he went to see the movie Hugo in 3D. And while he was watching it, something in his brain just clicked. For the very first time, he could see in 3D. The world just popped out at him. It just goes to show you, it is never too late for the brain to learn a brand new trick. And this power to adapt, it's been proven in some pretty wild experiments. There was this one scientist who wore goggles that literally flipped everything he saw upside down. For the first few days, as you can imagine, it was total chaos. But after just 5 days, his brain had completely rewired itself. It just started seeing the upside-down world as the right way up. Incredible.
And this isn't just some abstract thing. This rewiring is physical. Just look at London taxi drivers. These guys have to memorize thousands of streets. It's this legendary test called the knowledge. And studies found that the memory center of their brain, the hippocampus, is physically bigger than in the average person. The more they used it, the bigger it got. It really is like a muscle. So all of this adaptability is only possible because of the absolute mind-boggling power that's packed inside your head. Let's just geek out for a second on the specs of this biological machine. First off, speed. Information is zipping around in there at up to 260 miles per hour. That's faster than a Formula One car at top speed. Okay, now for scale. If you could take all the blood vessels in your brain and lay them out end to end, they would stretch 150,000 miles. That's more than halfway to the moon. And what's powering all this? Well, every single second. I mean, right now, your brain is managing about 100,000 different chemical reactions, just flawlessly, just to keep the lights on. But here's the stat that really puts it all into perspective. The fastest supercomputer on Earth needs 24 million watts of power to run. Your brain? It's about 100,000 times faster, and it does the whole thing on just 20 watts. That's barely enough to power a dim light bulb. It is, hands down, the most powerful and efficient machine we know of anywhere in the universe. But you know, for all the crazy stats and weird glitches, what really makes the brain so astonishing comes down to one simple but profound idea. It's the only object in the entire known universe that can actually think about itself.
And that, of course, leaves us with one final big question to chew on. If this amazing, powerful, and kind of weird machine is the only tool we have to understand everything, what are its blind spots? What are the things it simply can't show us? Something to think about.
bless the breakers, and the souls we find, drifting through data on the envy line. Bombs will turn steady through the storm and gray, sending mercy by the megahertz night and day. Hallelujah, static shout. Ride the current running wild. The Antisocial Broadcast choir gon' sing till the whole world hums in that freedom ring. Captain Bob says, keep your faith tuned loud.
Those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music.
Hey, welcome. You know, trends aren't just fads. They're like a mirror, right? They show us who we are, what we value. And in 2025, there was this one trend that was just so massive, you literally couldn't escape it. But here's the question. Was it just a fun, harmless craze, or was it a sign of something deeper? Let's get into it.
Okay, so think about it. 2023, that was the year of Barbie, no question. 2024, we had the whole summer of espresso. But 2025 was totally different. It was completely taken over by one single inescapable thing.
And that thing was Labubu. Yeah, these little elf-like guys. You know the ones, with the cheeky grins and those huge ears. They became the must-have accessory. You saw them everywhere, dangling from designer bags all over your social media feeds. Just everywhere.
But here's what's so interesting about Labubu. This was no overnight success. Not at all. The whole idea actually got started a decade ago. It came from the mind of a Hong Kong illustrator, Kai Sing Long, who was inspired by Nordic mythology. Wild, right? But it wasn't until 2019, when he signed a deal with PopMart, that things really started to cook. That partnership is what set the stage for the absolute global explosion we all witnessed in 2025.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How in the world did these little figures get so massive? What was really behind this worldwide obsession? Well, let me tell you. This hype was carefully built. It was anything but an accident.
Okay, so at the very heart of Labubu's success is this brilliant and maybe a little sneaky blind box strategy. The whole deal is you never know which doll you're going to get. And that simple trick, it taps right into our psychology. It's that thrill of the unknown, you know? That little dopamine hit you get when you think you might find a rare one. It makes the whole cycle of buying and unboxing, well, it makes it incredibly addictive.
But hold on. It wasn't just the blind box. Oh no. You had celebrity endorsements, which was huge. Then they became these super popular bag charms. And of course, there was this absolute tidal wave of viral content on social media. On top of all that, they engineered this feeling of exclusivity. They made certain Lubabus super rare, which just made demand go through the roof. And that created this whole other resale market where some of these dolls, they were going for over $1,000. $1,000?
I mean, it really is the perfect storm, isn't it? You've got collectability, crazy hype, and high fashion all rolled into one. Seems like a totally harmless craze, right? Fun for everyone. But what if there's a darker side to all this?
Because despite this global obsession, not everyone was on board. In fact, some people see it very, very differently. Our source for this explainer actually says, and I quote, "I personally think that lababas are one of the worst trends of 2025. Whoa! I mean, that is a strong take. So we gotta ask, why? Let's dig into that.
And look, this critique isn't just about someone not liking a cute toy. It goes way deeper than that. It's about what this whole trend says about us, about our society, on a much bigger level.
So the whole argument really comes down to this one big idea: conspicuous consumption. It sounds academic, but it's pretty simple. It's when you buy something not because you need it or even because you genuinely love it, but because you want to show off your status. You want other people to see that you have it. And the Labubu trend, well, it's being called a textbook example of this.
And see, this is what Labubu really did that was so different. It took this kind of status-seeking behavior and brought it to the masses. I mean, before Labubu, you had stuff like bear bricks, right? But those were super expensive, really niche, basically for a small hype-beast subculture. Labubu changed the game. It made chasing that status way more affordable, way more accessible. It basically democratized conspicuous consumption. And this right here, this is the absolute heart of the critique. The argument is that all this frantic collecting, it isn't really just a hobby. It's a symptom
a symptom of a society that uses shopping, that uses consumerism, that thrill of the purchase, that quick high of owning something new and shiny, to kind of dampen the bigger stuff, to distract ourselves from deeper anxieties about the economy, about the future, about where we even fit in this world.
So, when you boil it all down, this was never really just about a doll, was it? Understanding what makes a trend like Labubu tick, it's like getting a new lens to look at our own habits. It forces you to stop and think about the why. Why do we want the things we want? Why do we jump on the trends that we do?
So maybe the next time some new thing completely takes over, it's worth asking ourselves a few questions. What is this trend really selling me? Is it just a cool product, or is it selling me status, a sense of belonging, maybe just a welcome distraction? And the biggest question of all, what are our favorite trends hiding? Not just about our culture, but about ourselves.
This has been an antisocial broadcast for the pirate radio station. Stay envious.
Brothers and sisters, gather round on this quiet Delta night. Though snow doesn't fall here, the spirit of Christmas still shines. Let me tell you about a blessing carried on a warm southern breeze. Snow ain't falling in the Delta, but the lights still shine. I'm picking on my slide guitar, foot stomping time, hanging up a lantern on this old front door. Christmas in the bayou, love the blues and more. May your hearts be light and your burdens small. From this humble porch we send season's greetings to all.
Incoming storm of subscribers!
Now gather around, you drifters true, and I'll sing you what I've seen of the captain and his signal ship that sails where none have been. They say he cast his voice to sea, and the sky did answer back. He spoke of love and liberty through the hum of the radio crack. He found the lost and weary hearts adrift with broken tone, and tuned their souls in harmony. No sailor stands alone. So if you hear that phantom wave come calling through the mist, just hum along, my brothers and sisters. The captain still exists.
Before the year changes, listen to the breath beneath it. The world exhales long before we notice. Nothing is being taken from you here.
Nothing is being asked.
This moment is not a threshold to be crossed.
It is a place to stand. Breathing in,
as the sound arrives,
breathing out,
as it fades into the room,
breathing out. The old year loosens its hold without a sound.
the like warmth leaving stone after the fire has gone.
You do not need to follow the sound.
It already surrounds you.
If memories appear, let them drift without names.
If feelings rise,
let them pass without weight.
the new year does not arrive.
It reveals itself
Slowly,
like light through fog
like breath,
on glass.
you are not behind.
You are not behind.
You are not required to begin again.
You are already here.
Rest now.
Rest.
Children, the signal's still strong. Amen.
And lo, the seventh storm rolled in, black as judgment, cold as truth. Captain Bob stood at the helm, his eyes lit by the lightning's proof. He cried, behold the ship of revelations, her sails are stitched with every sin we've made. The sea was scripture, the wind was witness, and every crew did tremble, the mast did moan, but still the broadcast roared. Fear not the deep that swallows men, fear the silence on the shore. And when the final breaker hit, and the sky split like a wound, the captain raised his hand and sang, let
I walk the road where shadows creep. The air was thick, the silence deep. a broken sign that read no sleep. Oh Lord, what have I done? Running from the moon, hiding from the sun. Oh Lord, I can't outrun the dust of heaven. It clings to everyone. Preacher's voice called through the haze. With trembling hands I tried to pray, but mercy fell so far away. Chains rattle loud, my sins too proud. Oh Lord, what have I done? Running from the moon, hiding from the sun. Oh Lord, I can't outrun the dust of heaven. It clings to everyone. The organ hums a mournful tune. The guitar wails beneath the moon. Three voices rise like fire and bloom. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Oh Lord, oh Lord.
You know that feeling, right? You're scrolling through your feed and you just stop, totally baffled, thinking, how can anyone possibly believe that? I mean, from world-ruling lizard people to AI gods and confessional booths, the internet is just a wild, wild place for belief. Today, we're going to try and decode why our brains are so willing to buy in. So let's just ask the question right out of the gate. Why do we fall for this stuff? What is it that makes some bizarre idea take root and just spread like wildfire all over our screens? You know, it might feel completely random and chaotic, but there's actually a hidden logic to it. There's a pattern to the madness. Let's look at a few examples to see what I mean. All right, first up, an absolute classic. The idea that the world's elite aren't even human, but are actually shape-shifting, blood-drinking reptiles from space. Now, this isn't just some quirky little idea. It's a huge, all-encompassing theory that says there's this powerful, hidden force secretly pulling all the strings behind the scenes. Okay, now for something totally different. You've got a church in Switzerland that sets up a confessional booth with an AI-generated Jesus. Yep, ready to hear all your sins and give you guidance. It's this bizarre mashup of ancient faith and brand new tech, and it creates this whole new category of digital belief.
And finally, let's bring it a little closer to home. A TikTok creator posts this video of a super lavish $500 gift basket she's supposedly made, but then later she admits that most of it was totally fake. And her reason? Well, she said she needed to fabricate it a little bit for social media.
So, you've got reptilians, an AI Jesus, and a fake gift basket. On the surface, they seem completely unrelated, right? Just random, weird stuff. But what if I told you they're all powered by a very similar way of thinking, a specific framework for how we interpret the world around us? That framework has a name. It's called conspiracism. And the absolute key here is that it's not about any single belief. It's a mindset. It's a lens that people use to view events. It's a way of thinking that starts with the assumption that everything is part of some kind of secret plan. So, according to the political scientist Michael Barkun, this whole mindset is really built on 3 core principles. And the first one is this: nothing happens by accident. From this point of view, a hurricane isn't just a weather event. A price hike isn't just market forces. Nope. Every single event is deliberately caused by someone for some secret reason. The second principle just builds right on top of that one. Nothing is as it seems. Whatever the official story is, whatever the mainstream explanation might be, it's always just a cover-up. There's always a hidden, probably darker truth that they, whoever they are, don't want you to know about. And here's the final piece of the puzzle. Everything is connected. Every little anomaly, every coincidence, every event that seems totally random, well, they're not random at all. They're all seen as being linked together, part of one massive, secret pattern that only a select few are smart enough to see. So, how does a framework like this actually play out in our world today? Because it's not just for these huge, grand political theories. It actually explains so much of our digital culture, from the way we look at tech billionaires to the stories we literally invent on TikTok. I mean, just think about the whole story around tech billionaires. It really wasn't that long ago that the main story was that these guys were benevolent heroes, changing the world for the better. But now, there's this growing counter-narrative that sees them as parasites, as part of the problem. What you're seeing is one belief system collapsing and being replaced by a completely new one. And this feeling is captured perfectly by someone looking back at their early days in the tech world. They used to be so excited just to get a free Facebook t-shirt. But now they look back and realize that their belief in how cool it all was totally misplaced. That feeling, that, wow, I was so naive, that is the sound of a personal belief system cracking wide open. And, this desire for belief, it's so often tied to a deep desire to belong. Back in the day, getting a track jacket from a company like Palantir, that was a real status symbol. It was a signal that you were smart, that you were an insider, that you were part of the club that was really making things happen. And this brings us back to the small scale, which is where it gets really fascinating. Remember the TikTok creator with a fake gift basket? When she got called out, she actually shared her recipe for social media success. And step 4 is literally fabricate a little bit. This is just a perfect example of that principle. Nothing is as it seems, becoming a casual, everyday strategy. The official story is fake, and that's just part of the game now. So what is it? What's the fundamental emotion that's driving all of this? From secret reptiles to fallen tech heroes to faked gift baskets, what is that core feeling that makes these alternative beliefs so darn powerful? The comedian George Carlin, well, he nailed it perfectly with this line, which has pretty much become a slogan in these spaces. It's a big club and you ain't in it. It's that powerful, gut-level feeling of being excluded. That sense that there are insiders running the show, making all the rules, and you're just stuck on the outside looking in. That feeling, it fuels the search for secret knowledge, for a way into the real story. And that really brings us to our final and maybe most important question. It's really easy to point out the clubs that we feel excluded from, but what about the clubs we're already in? The ones that shape our own beliefs, that give us our own insiders and outsiders, and maybe, just maybe, create our own blind spots? It's definitely a question worth thinking about the next time you're scrolling. This has been an Antisocial Broadcast for the Pirate Radio Station. Stay envious.
Come close, sisters. Let me tell you of a captain who sailed the night on nothing but breath, courage, and a whisper of signal.
They knew him as Captain Bob, a guardian stitched from echoes and wandering light, guiding weary hearts through the long winter hush. Guide us from frayed wires and forgotten dreams. He raised a beacon, a warm net of voices glowing, a broadcast that never bent to the storm.
stand firm. Listen well, his signal still keeps watch. Whisper of grace in the still of the night, a flicker of hope, a guiding light, hands raised high, hearts open wide. Your love is your mercy boundless. Heaven draws near, I feel you here, breaking the chains, wiping each tear. Heaven draws near. Mountains may crumble, oceans may roar, but your steadfast love endures evermore. Through every storm, you are my shore. Your name is holy. Your promise holds me. Heaven draws near, I feel you here, breaking the chains, wiping each tear. Heaven draws near.
Midnight's breathing now, signal's warm. Let me tell you about a captain who rides the night air. They call him Captain Bob, sliding through the static, slow and steady, holding lost hearts in the glow of neon hours when the world forgets your name.
He don't hurry,
He don't force it,
he just keeps it alive.
Have you ever left a doctor's appointment and just felt completely unheard? It's a really common feeling. But what if the solution, or at least part of it, wasn't another person, but an AI? It sounds a little out there, I know, but today we're diving into the incredible and, yeah, slightly unnerving world where artificial intelligence is starting to reshape that critical conversation between doctors and patients. And it really all starts with experiences just like this one. This is a real quote from a researcher, Yulin House Swen, talking about a time her own doctors just dismissed a health condition she was having. She felt, in her own words, gaslit, like she was being told it was all in her head. So she had to go online to figure out what was actually going on. And that feeling, that experience of being dismissed by the very system meant to help you, that's really the heart of the problem we're digging into. So that brings us to this fundamental disconnect, right? There's this huge gap between the official medical record and what a patient is actually living through. Think about it. Over here, you've got the official clinical records. They're structured, they're formal, they're full of codes, but they often miss the full story. And then over here, you've got the real, raw conversations people are having online, on Reddit, on forums, you name it. This is where the truth often lives. You get the honest, emotional, super detailed experiences that just don't fit into a doctor's neatly coded note. Okay, so how in the world do we bridge that gap? Well, this is where the tech comes in. AI is now being used to listen in on these gigantic online conversations, trying to find the crucial signals that are hidden in all that noise. And the key here is understanding what researchers call unstructured data. And trust me, it's not neat and tidy like a spreadsheet. It's the total chaos of real life, right? It's messy text, it's memes, it's slang, it's podcasts and videos. AI models are now being trained on billions of these examples, and they're learning to decode all of it, the context, the feelings, the meaning, in a way that old school systems just could never ever do. And check this out. This is a perfect example of how powerful this can be. Researchers took the official electronic health record data, the EHR data, on menopause, and they compared it to conversations happening on Reddit. And what did they find? They didn't line up at all. The online chats revealed this massive gap in what the clinical records were actually capturing about women's real-life symptoms and experiences. All right, so we've established that AI can listen, but can it do more than that? Can it actually participate in the conversation? This is where we get into the really surprising stuff about AI and empathy. I mean, that's a wild question, isn't it? It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But you know what? The answer, based on some pretty solid research, might just blow your mind. So in this really fascinating study, they gave patient questions to two groups, real doctors and a generative AI. When the answers came back, they had a panel rate them. And get this, the AI's answers were rated as significantly more empathetic. Now, why is that? It's not because the AI's feeling anything, of course not. But think about it. Unlike a busy doctor juggling a million things, the AI is tireless. It can instantly pull from a vast ocean of information to craft this perfectly worded, comprehensive, and supportive response. It communicates empathy in a way that we as humans perceive as totally genuine. Now, all of this sounds amazing, right? It sounds incredibly promising. But before we get too carried away, we have to slam on the brakes and talk about the other side of this coin. And that's the immense, absolutely non-negotiable risk of getting things wrong in medicine. Just look at that number, 99%. In almost any other part of your life, that's an A+. That's an incredible success rate. But in healthcare, well, as we're about to see, 99% is a complete and total catastrophe. This is what's known as the airline analogy, and man, is it powerful. So there are about 70,000 flights every single day. If the airline industry was only 99% accurate, that would mean 700 plane crashes a day. Can you imagine? That is completely unacceptable. And in healthcare, where a single mistake can be just as devastating, the standard has to be exactly the same. The stakes are just that high. As one expert in this field put it so perfectly, the tolerance for error is basically zero. You can't be almost right. You can't be close enough. When we're talking about a diagnosis or a treatment plan, the system has to be aiming for perfection every single time. So if the stakes are that high, I mean, how can we ever really trust an AI with this stuff? The answer isn't to get rid of the AI. It's to completely redesign how humans and technology work together. And the key concept here, the term you need to know, is a semi-autonomous system.
This is not about AI replacing doctors. Let's be super clear on that. It's about AI assisting them. It's a system where a human expert, a doctor, a nurse, whoever, is required to review and sign off on any critical step before any final decision is made. So what does that actually look like? Well, imagine a patient message comes into the system. The AI can instantly draft a reply, it can pull up all the relevant parts of that patient's chart, and it can even flag potential concerns for the doctor. But, and this is the crucial part, nothing goes back to that patient until a human expert has reviewed every single piece of it. The clinician verifies it, makes sure it's medically sound, adds their own judgment, and only then do they hit send. The AI is doing the heavy lifting, but the human is making that final accountable decision. So let's just quickly recap where we've been. We started with this very real, very human problem of patients feeling unheard. Then we saw how AI can listen at an incredible scale and even respond with what feels like real empathy. But then we had to confront the massive stakes involved, where 99% accuracy is a total failure. And that led us to the solution, these human-in-the-loop systems, which provide that essential safeguard, not to replace our doctors, but to make them even better. And that really leaves us with this one big question to chew on. AI is becoming a co-pilot in our healthcare journey. There's no doubt about it. It has this incredible potential to make us all feel more heard, more connected. But as we embrace that, the real challenge is going to be designing systems that never ever lose sight of that absolute need for human accountability. How we strike that balance, that might be one of the most important questions of our time. This has been an Antisocial Broadcast for the Pirate Radio Station. Stay envious.
This is Captain Bob, coming through the frost and the static. While the world rushes toward rapt promises and forced smiles, this signal slows things down. Christmas isn't louder here, it's warmer. You're listening to the Antisocial Broadcast channel. Stay close.
For education and entertainment only, not to be taken seriously.
All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about a massive shift that's happening right now, pretty much under our feet. The whole idea of what a career even is, well, it's changing, and AI is hitting the accelerator.
This quote, man, it just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? That stable, predictable career path, the one our parents and grandparents knew, it's kind of just evaporating. The whole promise of a job for life is being replaced by something way, way more uncertain.
For about a decade now, the gig economy has really been the tip of the spear on this. It was the first thing that really started to chip away at the old 9-to-5 model. You could say it was the first major tremor before the big earthquake. But what started as a way to make some extra cash on the side, it's now at the center of a much, much bigger conversation.
Because here's the thing, the gig economy was just the warm-up act. The same forces that built it are now being completely supercharged by artificial intelligence. And that's leading to a transformation that isn't just about our jobs anymore, but about the entire fabric of our economic lives.
So to really get a handle on where we're going, we first have to understand what we're leaving behind. For generations, there was this kind of unspoken deal, right? A promise of stable work, a good life. But that dream, it's been fractured.
I mean, just look at the contrast here. It is stark. The old dream was built on a foundation of stability. A steady job you could count on, a reliable paycheck, and that golden retirement at the end. But the reality for millions of people today, it's precarious work, zero guarantees, and just constant, relentless change.
And you know, this isn't just some abstract economic trend. It has a very real human face. Take Chris Francis. After 3 decades, 30 years in finance, he was laid off. He ended up working for Amazon's camper force. These are nomadic workers who live in RVs and travel the country to work in warehouses during the busy seasons. His story is it's a powerful symbol of this new reality.
There's actually a name for this new, growing class of workers. Economists call them the precariat. It's a mashup of precarious and proletariat, and it perfectly describes people who are living in this state of constant economic uncertainty, just piecing together a living from one short-term gig to another, without any of the safety nets of traditional employment.
And the first major system that really built this precarity into its DNA was the gig economy. It showed up with this amazing promise of freedom and flexibility, but as we found out, that promise came with a pretty hefty price tag.
So what is it really? Well, at its core, the gig economy is just an online marketplace for work. These platforms, they act as the middlemen, connecting independent contractors with on-demand tasks. And in doing so, they completely blew up the traditional relationship between a worker and their employer.
The trade-off is pretty clear, right?
On one side, the appeal is obvious. You get to be your own boss, you set your own schedule, sounds great. But the flip side is, you're totally on your own. No health insurance, no retirement plan, and absolutely no guaranteed paycheck. It's freedom, for sure, but it's a freedom without a safety net. So if the gig economy was a tremor, what's happening now with AI, that's the earthquake. The whole logic of breaking down complex jobs into simple tasks is now being done by intelligent systems at a scale we've just never seen before, and it's hitting every single part of the economy. As the former CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, says here, we are still underestimating the impact of this. He argues that even with all the constant hype and buzz, we haven't really wrapped our heads around how profoundly non-human intelligence is going to reshape our world. This isn't just another tech fad. And this is the part we really need to get. AI isn't just automating old jobs away. It's fundamentally re-architecting our economy. It's creating a brand new reality where the skills that matter, the very nature of work, and the paths to success are all being rewritten in real time. So what does this new economic reality actually look like? Well, a lot of economists point to a very specific and honestly pretty concerning model, the barbell economy. It basically describes a workforce that's getting more and more polarized. Just picture a barbell, for lifting weights. On one end, you have these big, heavy plates. That's a growing number of high-skill, high-paying jobs, like AI development. On the other end, you have another set of heavy plates. That's a growing number of low-skill, low-paying service jobs that can't easily be automated, at least not yet. But the middle part, the bar that connects them, it's getting thinner and thinner. It's being hollowed out. And this chart, wow, it just lays it all out there. Back in 1970, middle-income jobs made up almost 40% of the economy. Today, that number has plummeted to just 23%. The very jobs that form the backbone of the middle class for generations, they're disappearing, and it's creating this deeply divided job market. Okay, so this all sounds pretty daunting, right? But the future isn't written in stone. The real question is, how do we navigate this new world? Our sources seem to point to two very different paths forward. One is all about individual adaptation, and the other is about building entirely new systems from the ground up. So, path number one is the pragmatic, individualistic approach. This is the advice you hear from tech leaders like Eric Schmidt and Demis Hassabis. It's pretty direct. Don't fight the wave, learn to surf it. Dive into these new AI tools, figure out how they work. The goal is to become an expert user, to leverage AI to make yourself 10 times more productive and stay ahead of the curve. But this brings up a huge question. Is simply getting better at using these tools, is that really enough to deal with such a massive systemic shift? What if we don't just need to adapt to this new world, but we actually need entirely new maps, maybe even a new compass, just to figure out where we're going? And this is where a much more radical idea comes into the picture, the Antisocial Broadcast. Think of it like a modern-day pirate radio station. It's called antisocial not because it's against people, but because it's against the polished, algorithm-driven social systems we all use today. It's meant to be an unfiltered, defiant compass to help us navigate this crazy new reality.
Now, the broadcast is really just the public voice of a much deeper system called EnVNet. And EnVNet, well, the vision for it is a whole new kind of operating system for human opportunity. The idea is, instead of relying on today's tech giants, it uses decentralized AI to help people navigate life's biggest hurdles, like finding a job, a place to live, and building real community.
So how would it even work? Well, at its core is an intelligence called innate. That's the system's brain. It uses a framework called UTP, which stands for user, time, and place, to understand a person's immediate context and what they need. Then you have these personal AI agents that act like, digital guardian angels, constantly scouting this network for opportunities that are tailored specifically for you. It's a really bold vision for a more human-centered digital world.
Look, whether it's through skilling up on your own or by trying to build these bold new systems, one thing is absolutely clear. The future of work is being designed right now, in real time. This isn't something that's just happening to us. So the final question is pretty simple. Are we going to be passive passengers just along for the ride? Or are we going to grab a pen and help draw the map for what comes next? This has been an Antisocial Broadcast for the Pirate Radio Station. Stay envious.
Beyond whispers flickers like it's caught in fear. Every step echoes loud in the dark. Midnight gloss on a city drowned. Rain slick streets where ghosts are found. What's lost ain't lost till it's finally bound. Midnight gloss, it's a lonesome sound. That stalls, guitar wails like it's climbing wall. Hammond hums as the shadow crawls. Lonely tunes in the echoing hall. Do you hear it? Do you hear it now? The silence sings, but it don't know how. Midnight gloss on a city drowned. Rain slick streets where ghosts are found. What's lost ain't lost till it's finally bound. Midnight gloss, it's a lonesome sound. Hollow footsteps, whispering lies. Windows watching with half-closed eyes. Rain keeps secrets the pavement denies. But the truth is written in the sky.
You know, imagine someone walking into a really tense meeting and they set the tone. Confident, but not arrogant. Generous, but, not a pushover. Brave, but smart about it.
Right. They just seem to have mastered this art of being a good person. It's incredibly complex.
It really is. And that ideal, that's kind of the heart of what we're digging into today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Virtue theory.
Exactly. And what's so striking about it, particularly with Aristotle, is that it's not about a list of rules. No, do this, don't do that guidebook.
Okay, yeah, let's jump right in there.
Yeah.
Our sources, philosophy crash courses, some really detailed historical stuff on thinkers from Zeno to Aquinas. They all point to this big shift. Instead of asking what's the right action, it's
what kind of person should I be? The idea is if you cultivate a good character, the right actions will naturally follow, almost effortlessly.
And that's our mission for this deep dive, right? Trying to figure out how we actually get to that point, that flow.
It's like ethical self-sculpting in a way. Aristotle's big idea was that humans have this inherent nature, a purpose, a telos. And fulfilling that purpose leads to the ultimate goal, flourishing.
Flourishing, eudaimonia. I always hesitate with that word because translating it as just happiness feels, well, wrong, too simple.
You're absolutely right. A life well lived or human flourishing gets much closer. And it's crucial to understand eudaimonia isn't about kicking back with cupcakes and rainbows. No, it's about striving, pushing your limits. It's that deep satisfaction you get from, earning it. Through continuous effort and improvement. It's active.
Constant effort, then. And Aristotle ties this back to our proper functioning, that we have a function like a tool does.
Precisely. Like a knife's function is to cut, he argued, humans have a function too. Being the rational animal, using reason, and also being the social animal, getting along with others. It's about being healthy, yes, but also about thinking and cooperating well.
So, using reason effectively and being a functional part of society, that's the road to eudaimonia.
Our sources do mention this influenced later thinkers, like Aquinas with natural law, though Aristotle kept it strictly about nature,
Not about God's plan, no. He was observing what makes humans thrive as humans. It's an ethics based on, well, human nature itself.
Okay, conceptually that tracks.
Correct.
Aim for flourishing by fulfilling our function. But here's where I always get a bit stuck, and I bet you listening might feel this too. How do we know what's virtuous? Aristotle's definition, right thing, right time, right way, right amount, right people, it sounds so vague.
It does sound vague initially, but that's the crux. Aristotle believed the truly virtuous person doesn't find it vague. They have the judgment, the practical wisdom to just see it in the situation.
Okay, so the mechanism isn't a rule. It's this practical wisdom guiding us to
The golden mean.
the famous sweet spot.
Exactly. Virtue is always the midpoint. It avoids two extremes, two vices, having too little of a quality, deficiency, and having too much excess.
Okay, let's make that concrete. Courage. We usually think, be bold. But under the golden mean, courage is the middle ground between cowardice.
Cowardice, the deficiency, yes.
Yeah.
And recklessness, the excess.
Right, recklessness.
And this is where that practical wisdom, that judgment comes in. See someone being mugged, rushing in like a superhero without thinking. That's reckless, probably gets you hurt, maybe makes things worse.
So the virtuous, courageous thing might be different.
It might be assessing the situation. Can I intervene safely? Effectively. Maybe the truly courageous act, the mean, is actually calling for help from a safe distance. It depends entirely on the context and your capabilities. Knowing your limits is part of it.
Wow. Okay, so courage is more about assessment and control than just blind action. I like how our sources applied this to honesty too. You can be deficient, not speaking up when needed.
Or you can have the excess brutal honesty, which is often just cruelty, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
The virtuous person knows when to keep quiet, maybe about that zit your friend definitely already sees, but also knows how to deliver a hard truth constructively when it is necessary. It's about tact and timing.
And generosity.
Yeah.
That one feels really tricky with the main. Stinginess is the obvious lack, but too much. Extravagance.
Exactly, giving away your rent money to buy drinks for everyone. That's not virtuous generosity. That's, well, poor judgment. Or worse, giving something harmful like drugs to an addict. That's clearly not generous in any meaningful sense.
It requires real wisdom. Giving the right thing, right amount, right person, right time. It's like a constant high-stakes balancing act.
It really is.
So if the answer isn't a rule book, but this practical wisdom, this sort of street smarts for the soul, how on earth do you get it?
Well, Aristotle was very clear on this. It's a skill. You learn it like you learn carpentry or cooking, not from books primarily.
Okay.
You learn through habituation. Doing the virtuous thing again and again, even if it feels unnatural at first, eventually it becomes ingrained, second nature.
And how do you even start if you don't know what the virtuous thing is yet?
Emulation. Find someone who seems to embody the virtue you want, a moral exemplar.
A role model.
Exactly, and you copy them. Aristotle believed we're naturally inclined to recognize and mimic excellence. It might feel fake initially, sure, like you're just acting, but through that repeated action, the habit forms, and eventually the virtue becomes genuinely yours.
That's a powerful model. Focusing inward, sculpting the self towards eudaimonia. But there's another major path here, right? One that seems maybe more geared towards dealing with the messy outside world. Stoicism.
Yes, Stoicism, a parallel path but with a distinctly pragmatic flavor. It really starts around 300 BCE in Athens with Zeno of Cyprus.
The shipwreck guy.
That's the one. Lost everything in a shipwreck, turned to philosophy. He taught in the Stoipoikili, the painted colonnade, hence the name Stoicism. The whole philosophy kind of starts from a place of acknowledging external chaos and loss.
So a key difference then. Aristotle is about achieving internal flourishing, while the Stoics are more about coping.
Coping, yes, but also thriving despite external circumstances. They believe the universe operates rationally, according to Logos, and their central practical teaching is the dichotomy of control.
This is famous. You can't control what happens to you.
Exactly. You can't control the storm, the economy, what other people think or do, but you have absolute control over one thing: your judgments about those things.
So it's not the bad event that causes suffering. It's my reaction, my irrational judgment about it.
Precisely. That's the Stoic tea. If you accept what you can't change and focus only on managing your internal judgments, you can achieve tranquility, or ataraxia.
And they channeled this self-improvement through specific virtues too, didn't they?
Yes, 4 cardinal virtues, really geared towards navigating the world as it is.
Okay, what are they?
First, practical wisdom, very much like Aristotle's idea, calmly navigating complexity. Second, temperance, self-control, moderation. Third, justice, fairness towards others, recognizing shared humanity, even with those who wrong you.
Even wrongdoers. That's tough.
It is. And fourth, courage. But for Stoics, courage wasn't just battlefield bravery. Seneca famously said, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Meaning facing the daily grind, the mundane hardships, the difficult situations with integrity and a clear head, mental fortitude.
That idea of courage as steady internal strength that resonates so much today. And, we think of Stoics as maybe cold or emotionless, but their ideas led to real calls for change, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Look at Seneca again in the Roman Empire. He was a powerful figure arguing for the humane treatment of slaves.
Which was radical then.
Totally radical. He stressed their fundamental shared humanity, arguing against treating them merely as property. That's applied ethics, trying to bring compassion into a brutal reality.
It's amazing how these ideas echo through history. You've got Socrates to Plato to Aristotle, then Aristotle influencing someone like Aquinas in the Middle Ages.
A clear philosophical lineage, yes.
But the Stoic line, its impact on leadership and dealing with suffering feels almost more direct sometimes.
It's profoundly practical. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, writing his meditations basically as a personal Stoic handbook to keep himself grounded while running an empire.
Right, trying to maintain his own character amidst chaos.
And then, centuries later, those same writings become a source of strength for Nelson Mandela during his 27 years in prison.
I find that incredible. Mandela actually cited Stoicism.
He did. He credited Stoic ideas, particularly from Aurelius, with helping him master his internal response to profound injustice, focusing on reconciliation, not bitterness, controlling his judgment when he couldn't control the external reality of prison.
That's just wow. And the link to modern psychology seems so clear too. Epictetus saying suffering comes from our judgments.
It's the bedrock of cognitive behavioral therapy, essentially.
Like REBT. Rational emotive behavioral therapy.
Exactly. REBT is all about identifying and challenging those irrational, self-defeating beliefs and judgments we attach to events. And think about Viktor Frankl's logotherapy, developed in concentration camps.
Finding meaning, even in horror.
Yes. Harnessing that one freedom you always possess. The power to choose your attitude, to find meaning. That's pure Stoic principle in action under the most extreme duress imaginable.
So we've journeyed through these two really powerful yet distinct paths to mastering being a person. Aristotle's golden mean, striving for that effortless eudaimonia through character.
And the Stoic path, focusing laser-like on controlling our judgments, cultivating those cardinal virtues to navigate a world we fundamentally don't control.
Right. Two different lenses on virtue.
But the common thread, the big takeaway from both, seems to be this. The good life, the well-lived life, it isn't some final destination you arrive at and then relax.
No, it's constant work.
It's a process. Perpetual striving, conscious effort, always refining, always improving. You're never really done.
Which brings us back to the beginning. If virtue is a skill learned through habit, starting with emulation, it really makes you stop and think. Who is that moral exemplar for you right now? Who could you start consciously copying today, even in small ways, to start building your own path towards that flourishing, well-lived life?
This is not an emergency broadcast. Keep calm and stay tuned.
That never truly sleeps. Where rain falls like a broken coat, and neon bleeds into every unspoken truth. Captain Bob walked alone. He wasn't born for a world of metal skies and humming machines. But destiny isn't polite. It arrives like a glitch in the dark, whispering, "You're needed. Step forward." Bob listened, because even in a neon wasteland, a single voice can change the frequency. The street shimmered with holograms and ghosts of old transmissions. Antennas rose like steel skeletons, casting long shadows across wet concrete. Bob felt the pulse of the city, a heartbeat made of circuitry and rain. And somewhere deep inside the static, he recognized his calling. Not to rule, not to run, but to carry the last honest signal through a world drowning in noise. He climbed the tower that scraped the smog-heavy sky, each step glowing under neon red lights. Above him, drones drifted like metallic angels, their searchlights carving stories into the fog. Bob reached the top, placed his hand on the transmitter, as if greeting an old friend, and whispered, "We're not finished. Not yet." And the city listened. Electric wind howled across the rooftop. Circuits hummed away, and Bob smiled into the darkness. He knew the truth. Some rebellions don't need armies, just one clear voice. Oh, the city's glowing. Oh, the night expands. Captain Bob lights the skyline with the truth in his hands. Oh, the neon's calling through the cold and rain. The Antisocial Broadcast cuts through the noise again. If you ever hear a signal rising above the neon rain,
The water's cold, but my heart is fire. The weight of my sin sinks down like a tire. I see the light, it's cutting through the trees. A whisper in the wind says, child, believe. Take me down to the river wide, wash my soul where the truth can't hide. Let the water rise, let the chains all fall. This is my redemption, this is my call. Mud on my knees, but my spirit flies. Clouds break open in the endless skies. I hear a hymn in the softest breeze. Mercy rolls like thunder through the willow trees. I was lost, now I'm found. Hear the hum of heaven's sound. My soul where the truth can't hide. Let the water rise, let the chains all fall. This is my redemption, this is my call. Guitars cry, a congregation hums, their hands raised high. The river speaks, it knows my name. It drowns my past, it ends my shame.
All right, let's talk about AI. It's everywhere, right? We hear about it constantly. But what does it actually mean for us, for our jobs, and for, well, our future? We're going to dig into the massive changes happening right now, what's just over the horizon, and maybe, just maybe, a new way to navigate it all.
And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi movie plot. This is happening right now. We are living through a brand new industrial revolution, and the old rulebook, it's pretty much been tossed out the window. Things are not going back to the way they were.
So this isn't just some big abstract idea about the economy. For millions of people, it's incredibly personal. That little voice in the back of your head wondering, could a robot do my job? Well, that's not science fiction anymore. For a lot of folks, it's a real everyday worry. Let's make this real. Meet Chris Francis. This guy spent 30 years in accounting, a solid, stable career, right? And then poof, it was gone. Today, he lives out of an RV, traveling across the country for seasonal gigs at Amazon warehouses. He's what some people are calling plug-and-play labor. Just wild.
Chris isn't alone. He's part of a new and growing group of people called the precariat. And it's exactly what it sounds like, precarious. You're basically jumping from one short-term, low-paying job to the next. There's no stability, no benefits, no real long-term security. The whole idea of a career path is just broken for them.
And this isn't just a few sad stories. It's a huge economic shift. Economists have a name for it, the barbell economy. Picture a barbell, right? You've got heavy weights on both ends and a thin bar in the middle. The weights are the high-paying jobs and the low-paying jobs. Both of those are growing. But that thin bar in the middle, that's the middle class, and it's getting hollowed out. That stable ladder up is just gone for a lot of folks.
Okay, so that sounds pretty bleak. But is it the whole story? Is it just about robots taking jobs?
Or is something more interesting, more collaborative, happening right under our noses? To find out, let's take a look somewhere you least expect to see this collaboration. A place where the stakes are literally life and death. The surgical operating room. And what's happening in there? Well, it's probably not what you think. So here we have Dr. Michael Jobst. He's a surgeon and he works with what's called a cobot, a collaborative robot. This thing allows him to perform incredibly complex surgeries with a level of precision that's just superhuman. Now you'd think, okay, this is exactly where a robot would replace a human. But here's the twist. Nobody got fired, not a single person. Instead, everyone's job changed. The nurse now manages the robot. The scrub tech doesn't hand tools to the doctor anymore, they hand them to the machine. The robot didn't replace the team, it became part of the team and totally transformed how they work. That's pretty cool, right? But here's the thing. Everything we've talked about so far, even these amazing surgical robots, that's just the warm-up act. The next leap isn't just a better tool. We're talking about a completely new kind of intelligence, something that's going to fundamentally change, well, everything. I'm talking about AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. This is the big one. This isn't an AI that's just good at chess or just good at reading X-rays. AGI is an AI that can think, reason, and learn like a human across any domain. The CEO of DeepMind, Demis Hassabis, put it perfectly. The only proof we have that this is even possible is us, the human mind. And this is coming way faster than you might think. I mean, back in 2016, an AI came up with a new move in the ancient game of Go, a move that humans had missed for 2,500 years. And now, the experts, the people actually building this stuff, are saying there's a 50-50 shot we'll have AGI in the next 5 to 10 years. A coin flip. Just let that sink in. The former CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, he's not calling this the next big thing in tech. He says the arrival of AGI is the single most important event for humanity in the last 500 years. I mean, we're talking Gutenberg Press, Industrial Revolution level stuff. The stakes are astronomically high. And when you have something this powerful on the horizon, it really splits into two possible futures, doesn't it? You've got the utopian dream, and then you've got the existential nightmare. On the one hand, the promise is incredible. Curing every disease, solving the energy crisis, creating a world where nobody has to struggle. Just radical abundance. But the flip side, the peril, is terrifying. Bad guys getting their hands on it. An AI that improves itself so fast we can't control it. Or worse, an AI with its hands on the world's weapon systems. It is the ultimate double-edged sword. And it gets even scarier on a global scale. Eric Schmidt laid out this chilling scenario. Imagine two countries, call them Country A and Country B, are in a race to build AGI. Country A gets just 6 months ahead. 6 months! But because this tech improves exponentially, Country B knows it can never catch up. It's game over. So what do? They try to steal it. They try to sabotage it. Nothing works. Their last, desperate but maybe logical move, a preemptive strike, bomb the data centers. And this isn't just a movie plot. These are the kinds of conversations that are happening at the highest levels of government right now. So, wow, we've got the hollowing out of the middle class on one side and a potential global catastrophe on the other. Is there another option? A third way? A path that doesn't rely on huge corporations or governments, but instead puts the power back in the hands of individuals? Let's take a look. The revolution might not be televised. It sure as hell will be broadcast. I love that. It perfectly captures the spirit of this different approach. It's got this defiant counterculture vibe, you know? Like old school pirate radio, but totally updated for the world we're heading into.
And the core of this idea is something called NVNet. Now don't think of it as just another app on your phone. It's way bigger than that. Imagine a decentralized operating system for your life. The goal is to use all this crazy tech, AI, blockchain, to help you tackle the big stuff. Finding a job, a place to live, even building relationships. But the key is, you're in control, not some giant tech company.
So, how does it work? Well, it's got a few core parts. There's UTP, that stands for User, Time, Place. It's basically a way to map your life's journey on the blockchain, so it's secure and owned by you. Then there's the innate core, which is kind of the central brain of the whole network. And maybe the coolest part is you get your own AI agents. Think of them like little guardian angels, constantly out there looking for opportunities that are just right for you.
And the whole point of broadcasting what this system learns is to give everyone a compass, an early warning system. It's about taking all these huge invisible changes that are happening because of AI, the stuff that's displacing workers like Chris, and making them visible, making them understandable. So you're not just getting hit by the wave, you can actually see it coming and learn how to ride it. So look, the future of work is definitely at a massive crossroads. The challenges are huge, there's no doubt about it. But at the same time, new ideas, new systems are popping up that might just give us the tools we need to find our way. And that brings us to the end. This has been an Antisocial Broadcast for the Pirate Radio Station. Stay envious.
So, have you ever felt this weird paradox? You work incredibly hard, you're climbing the ladder of success, but then you get to the top and the view just isn't what you expected. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into why that happens and how a blueprint that's over 2,000 years old might just hold the key to a much more fulfilling life. I mean, this question really hits home for a lot of people, right? You land the promotion, you crush the sales target, you cross that finish line, and for a second, it feels amazing. But then almost right away, that feeling just vanishes, and you're already hunting for the next prize. It's this relentless treadmill that can leave you wondering, am I even running in the right direction? And you know, this really gets to the heart of the problem. So many of us have been taught to measure our lives with a kind of internal scorecard. It's this collection of job titles, salaries, accomplishments, all the things we use to prove our worth to ourselves and to the world. We're just constantly checking that score, hoping it all adds up to a life well lived. Okay, so here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to break down this modern happiness trap. Then we'll step back and ask what happiness actually is, with a little help from some ancient wisdom. From there, we'll look at a practical blueprint for virtue, see how it fits into our lives today, and finally explore a whole new way to light the path forward. All right, let's kick things off with part one, the modern happiness trap. We've really got to take a closer look at this game we're all playing, this constant and frankly often exhausting race for success. The economist Joseph Schumpeter just completely hit the nail on the head with this one. The money, the status, the power, they're not just rewards. For so many of us, they're points on the board. They're a real, tangible index of success that proves we're winning. The biggest problem, though, this is a game that never, ever ends. And, well, this is where our obsession with scorekeeping can get a little dark. According to one study, working all the time isn't always about ambition. Sometimes it's actually a way to self-medicate, a strategy to run away from feelings like anxiety and depression. We just bury ourselves in that scorecard so we don't have to look at what's really going on inside. So if chasing points on a scorecard is a trap, maybe the problem isn't how hard we're working. Maybe the problem is the goal itself. And that forces us to ask a really big question. What is happiness, really? Seriously, what if this whole idea we have of happiness, that it's some destination you arrive at through achievement, is just wrong? The good news is we are not the first people to wrestle with this. The ancient Greek philosophers pretty much dedicated their lives to this exact question, and their answer completely changes the game. Okay, I've got a new word for you, eudaimonia. It's pronounced eudaimonia. Now, Aristotle used this word, but he didn't mean that temporary feeling of pleasure you get from a good meal.